Washington plus another 10 more, right? Nearly 2 million people are in cities that have agreed to this plan. What is it? It meets or exceeds the Kyoto Treaty. It's a land use plan, erecting smart growth and saying that it is anti-sprawl. That's where you live. Anti-sprawl. And it supports carbon trading. What's carbon trading? That's buying nothing and selling it to somebody else for a lot. And then charging you when you go. So I looked at the Kyoto Treaty and I said, hey, I wonder, you know, it's an international treaty, right? I said, I wonder which country reduced their greenhouse gas emissions the most. Which country that signed on to Kyoto reduced their greenhouse gas emissions the most? What do you think? What do you think? Any ideas? You're all wrong. Latvia, tiny Latvia, clinging desperately to the edge of the Soviet Union. Tiny Latvia, right? What are they known for? They can shut off all of their heat, all the electricity with one switch, because you're living in one of those concrete bunker things that goes up 20 or 30 stories. So they do that in the wintertime. And what else are they known for? Human rights abuses. So you too, what does that tell you? You too can control all of your greenhouse gas emissions. All you have to do is have the switch and abuse your people. It's easy. Yeah. So one other thing you're going to see from ICLEI is that they have a book in your planning department. Your planning departments are lying to you. I know you know this, this is true, right? Your planning department's lying to you. They're saying they don't know anything about this. They don't know what you're talking about. We had to go look it up. That's what they say. They brought up that. They're conspiracy theorists. They brought up Agenda 21. We didn't know what it was. We had to go look it up. Right. Here it is. This is the local Agenda 21 planning guide. You're going to find that. I say we have to tie down the planners and run in and go and look on their shelves, because it's in the bookshelf of your planning department. It's the local Agenda 21 planning guide. And it tells planners how to do visioning meetings. It teaches you not just how to create the visioning meeting, which is what you got invited to. Your city invited you to come on down and give your opinion on this new plan, right? That visioning meeting that you probably actually never even knew happened. Why not? Because the instructions in this book tell you, don't invite the general public. No. You don't want to do that because you know why? Well, yes, you know why. Because you might have dissent. Oh, we don't allow dissent anymore. It's messy. So, what do? They infiltrate. They go into your town first before they bring the plan out, and they go to whoever's running the town, the guys with the money, the dudes who are making decisions there in the town, and they go, hey, we got this great plan. You're going to be making a lot of money with this plan. Because we're going to be filling the town with these developments that do not pencil out financially, that there is no demand for. But don't worry, because we're going to be subsidizing you with government dollars. So you're going to be fine. We just need you to pack these meetings. Who comes into those meetings? You get consultants. The consultant who's creating the plan, or I shouldn't say creating, is just recycling the same plan. It's the same plan all over the United States, right? The plan is the same plan everywhere. So those meetings get filled with government officials, with government employees, with people who are on boards and commissions, right? With people who are already on board with a plan. How about that? So what's the goal? The goal, they use the green mask of environmental concern, and the two parts of Agenda 21 are imposed. Now, one is smart growth, right? And that is moving populations into concentrated city centers where they can be more easily restricted, monitored, managed, and surveilled. And the other part is the wildlands. That's where you are. That's getting people out of the rural and suburban areas, blocking access to wilderness roads and resources, and shifting land ownership from private to public. That's what that's about. Now, by 2002, this plan, this book, Growing Smart was in every single university. All the planning departments had it. And there was a planning revolution going on. And this is how it happens, because most states, you have your Growth Management Act, right, from 1990. Now, most states require that every city and county and state have a general plan. And that pretty much is the design of your town, right down to the actual physical structure of your town, to how, your transportation should be, where businesses should be located. Everybody's got that, and that's what your Growth Management Act is, right? 1990. But not only that, but it is also, it's the blueprint, right? But not only that, but it trumps zoning. So you know what you're zoned, right? You're zoned R2 or R1, or you're zoned C2, or you're zoned industrial or something. You know that if they're going to change your zoning, you have to get notified, right? You know that. They can't spot zone you. You have to get notified. But your general plan takes precedence over your zoning. This is important to know. So when your general plan is changed, they don't have to tell you, because it's general. It's a comprehensive plan. It's not specific to your property. So you might find yourself, you thought you were zoned R2 or C2 or C1 or something, commercial or residential. No, you're not. You are general planned, transit-oriented development, or multi-residential, high-density development. Now you go in there to get your permit, right? You got a commercial piece of property, you want to put a little commercial thing on there. No. You're transit-oriented development now. You've got to put in high-density apartments on top of that commercial. Well, not everybody can do that, you know. You need a lot of money for that. And not only that, there's no demand for it. Yeah, it's a recipe for bankruptcy. The banks know that. They're not going to loan you any money for that. Who's going to get the money for that? The favored developers, who are getting no recourse loans from your government, who are getting partnerships with your government, so they're building these things with your subsidized tax dollars. This is how it happens. This is how it happens. You're sitting there, you've got your commercial piece of land, you want to build on it, you can't get a permit. Why not? Because you're zoned now, your general plan for transit-oriented development. Well, you're sitting there, you're paying taxes on it. Pretty soon you're like, you got to clean up trash, people are dumping on it, you're going in there for years, you're paying a permit expediter, you got thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line, and whoop, you lost it. Right? This is how it works. Now, here's the rest of it. Federal and state transportation tax dollars are funneled through metropolitan planning organizations. Now, here's where the regional government thing comes in, because what do we have here? We have city, county, state, and Fed, do we not? Now, what do they all have in common? You vote for those representatives. This plan is global, regional, neighborhood. What do they all have in common? You don't vote. That is not representative government, right? So your regional board is Metropolitan Planning Organization, okay? Now, there are 500 of these in the United States. Metropolitan Planning Organizations and Councils of Government, okay? And there's 14 of them in Washington. Now you've got Puget Sound, for an example, Puget Sound Regional Council. Puget Sound Regional Council. That is, what is it? It's King, Pierce, Snohomish, and Kitsap counties, right? It's also 72 cities. Now imagine that. I mean, all of us could be sitting at that table, and there would probably be less of us than there would be supposed representatives on that regional board. That regional board is made up of elected officials, but you don't elect that board. What that means is you can't remove the people on that board, and you have no impact on what goes on your regional boards. Regional boards are the ones that are making this plan happen. They are not representative. They are not answerable to you. In fact, you may not even know they exist. You may not even know where they meet if you do know they exist, because think about that. They're in this one's only in 4 counties. There are some that are in 20, 30 counties. Well, let's just say every month they meet in a different one. And you don't even know it's happening. And this is where the money comes from, because Puget Sound Regional Council, for example, has control of $180 million in federal transportation dollars a year. Isn't it great? Now, HUD, think about this. We're controlled by grants and federal money, okay? It's a really tough thing to go to one of your representatives and say, don't take that money. Don't take that money. We don't want that money. If you're going to do that, and you are going to do that, you need to be there when that person turns down those federal grants, because that is political suicide. To look at the community and say, I'm sorry, they got hundreds of millions of dollars in grants they're handing us, and I'm going to say no, because we want to keep our sovereignty. You've got to be there. So, HUD gives out $100 million a year. Now, were they on the President's Council on Sustainable Development? Yes, okay. They gave $6.5 million in planning grants to Washington State in 2010 for sustainable community regional planning grants. Nothing gets built, right? Who's making money off of this? Consultants, planners, right? Nothing gets constructed. These planning grants are not to build anything. They're to hold visioning meetings and to make plans. That's where the money's going. You know why we have no money? Because of things like this. Because our money, your money, is getting funneled into these plans, which are designed to take the value and the use of your property away from you permanently. This is what this is about. So when you see Vision 2040, which is Puget Sound Regional Council, when you see Sustainable Thurston, Envision Skagit 2060, when you see these grants from HUD, from the Department of Energy, from the Department of Transportation and EPA, those were all in the President's Council of Sustainable Development. Climate action plans, shoreline management plans, buffer zones, visioning for sustainable development, livable communities, complete streets, transit villages, public-private partnerships. That's what that's about. That is fascism. This is fascism. This is a totalitarian state that is using your money and corporate pressure to fund non-governmental organizations, nonprofits, to pressure your government. See, it's a circle. To create more rules and more laws and more regulations for you. And speaking of circles, here's the Marin County. This is Marin County, California, the cover of the Marin County, California Comprehensive Plan, General Plan. Whoops. Right inside. Can you see that? Right inside is the image of United Nations Agenda 21. Sustainable development, those 3 circles, you see them? This is what it's about. There's no question about it. This is what it is. And I'll tell you what else. The San Francisco Bay Area, One Bay Area Plan, which is supposed to be 9 counties, 111 cities, 7.5 million people, one vision, right, is the same plan as the Hanoi Center, the Hanoi Capital Region Plan 2030. It's the same plan. We're paying over and over and over again for the same plan. It's the same plan. What is it? Smart growth and the wildlands. It's always the same plan. High density development on a train line or a bus line, packed into the city center, clearing you out of the rural and suburban areas. It's the unelected shadow government. Your regional boards are the unelected shadow government and it's being sold to you as an economic driver. If you want to compete, you want to compete? If you want to compete, you better join